What is the common factor we see in chronic degenerative conditions, and what is the most strategic dietary change you can make to see reversals of chronic disease and start seeing healing of the body. So again, I'm Mihaela Telecan. I'm the owner of Healing with Foods. I am a health and wellness strategist or coach. I'm a trained registered dietitian, former veterinarian doctor. Quite some turns going on in my career due to my passion for health and wellness. And I'm here to talk with you today about how you can take charge of your health by the foods you eat. So first, let me answer the first question. What is the commonality we see in chronic degenerative conditions? So first we define what are chronic degenerative conditions that we see going rampant. At least for the last 40 years, let's say. We see an increase in cancer rates, all types of cancer. Today, actually, I was riding the bike on the beach, and we had an event, a march, run and walk against pancreatic cancer. So we see lots and lots of cancers with an increased breast cancer, all sorts of brain tumors, lung, you name it. So that's one chronic degenerative condition that we have. Then we have another cluster. I even have a nice diagram. Well, it's not so nice, but that's how I see it. So it's one cluster, cancer. Then we have another big group of chronic degenerative conditions that we see growing exponentially. Autoimmunity, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's, psoriasis, Alzheimer, which is not necessarily autoimmune, but we have this, so a big increase in autoimmunity, in food-related sensitivities, things that originate from the gut, more gut-related disorders, again, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, IBS, IBD, gluten sensitivities and intolerances, much more common and much more common diagnosed. To some degree, you may argue that yes, we have better ways of diagnosing and reporting this, so it may not be such a tremendous increase as we think, but I do, if you look at data, you can say that there is an increase in the incidence of all these conditions. Then not to say about autism and ADD, ADHD, all the behavioral conditions that we see in children, as well as in adults, depression, mood disorders, anxiety, pain, headaches, joint and ache pain, like the prescription medications for pain, for treatment of chronic pain is going up, skyrocketing. So that's one other cluster, is another circle we have there. And then we have the third one, which is probably the most talked about and more prevalent, is the cardiometabolic cluster of symptoms. Cardiovascular disease, that includes myocardiac infarctions, we have the strokes, we have hypertension, we have dyslipidemia, where you have blood lipids, triglycerides very high, with low cholesterol or good cholesterol, high LDL, increased abdominal obesity, increased waist circumference, pre-diabetes, so impaired blood sugar control, or full-blown type 2 diabetes, which we start to see, all those conditions we start to see in very young age, like 9-10-year-olds and up. And the other one is fatty liver. So all those are like the cardiometabolic cluster of conditions. So now that we know the three big categories of chronic degenerative conditions that we see, when we study those, we learn that a common factor in all of this is inflammation. It's silent chronic inflammation that it's found in all those. And I will come back and talk about the inflammation, the difference between chronic acute inflammation, desirable way of your body to respond to injury. Let's say you cut your finger, you want to respond with inflammation, so you support rapid healing and prevent infection. Versus chronic, ongoing, slow inflammation that never goes away. And for example, arterial plaque is the formation and the root cause of that is chronic slow inflammation. So we see inflammation as the common denominator. We can go one layer below that and talk about gut health, which I'm not going to talk about today. I just want to stop here at the inflammation. And now, if you think at what drives this chronic low-grade inflammation, there are many factors. To give you an example is your mind. The thoughts you produce, you have every day, and for every positive thought, you have 4 negative thoughts. So your mind is an extremely powerful force that can drive inflammation or can drive healing. The emotions you foster in your body, the air you breathe, the toxins that you acquire from the environment. I'm not going to talk about this today. I'm just going to stop and talk about food because that is my area of expertise. So when it comes to dietary changes, you have first you have to start. Of course, you have to know where you are. You have to redefine what food is, because today we think food comes in boxes and packages and has food labels, right? And that's totally wrong. That's not food. That's food-like substances. It's highly processed, industrialized, chemicalized substances that to some degree we provide nutrition to our body, but rather they just give empty calories, like so you can run, you don't walk energy deprived, but it taxes your body, it increases the toxic load. So first you have to define what food is. So food is real whole foods that are as close as possible to what nature gives us. So that's the first change you want to make in your diet. Revise, and that's the blog I wrote, I posted yesterday. It starts with the kitchen. Your healing begins in the kitchen. Your healing, your beauty, your strength, your body change begins in the kitchen. So first you revise your kitchen, you get rid of foods that don't even fit the definition of foods. You bring in whole foods. Now once you start eating whole foods, so you remove yourself from processed foods, you have to see from what you put in your plate, the macronutrients. So when we talk about food, the way food gives us nourishment is through macronutrients and micronutrients. The macronutrients, they come in greater amount, that's what it means, and they are carbohydrates, protein, and fats. Let me see if I change. I feel like the light is wearing on my face. Weird on my face. I have lots of light from the windows I have behind. Yes. Anyway, so we have macronutrients, carbohydrates, protein, and fats that we get from the foods, whole foods, given that we eat whole foods. So now we have to look from those macronutrients, which ones are contributing, fostering inflammation. Because if you have an ongoing chronic low-grade inflammation, you want to do anything you can to remove the elements that drive, that maintain that slow burning fire inside your body. So looking at the research, we now can say very clearly that carbohydrates, the macronutrient that we get from food named carbohydrate, is the one and single nutrient that if you make changes around, you are going to see improvements. You're going to reduce the inflammation in your body, and slowly you're going to see healing of the taking place in your body. So that's the first. So when I say carbohydrates, think about sugar, of course, whether it's refined or non-refined, even sugar coming from fruits, depending on how severe the condition that you are. If you have a full-blown condition or you want to prevent, right? That depends how strict you want to go. Starches, grains, even legumes to some degree. So anything that turns into sugar in your body, because sugar, carbohydrates, glucose drive inflammation. So that's one big change you can make in your diet. Look at the amount of carbohydrates you get as proportion in rapport to protein and fats in your diet. The second one is fats, the quality of fats. Yes, you want to lower the carbohydrate and increase the fats, but you don't want to increase your fats from processed vegetable oils, because those are a killer. They drive inflammation. Omega-6, inflammatory fat, omega-3, anti-inflammatory fat. Denaturated fatty acids, hydrogenated fatty acids, and again, vegetable oils, canola, soybean, corn, mazola, all those are not your healthy fats. You want to get your fats, monofats, avocados, nuts, seeds, not the oils of it, but like the whole avocado, the whole nut and seed, olives and olive oil, and of course healthy saturated fats, coconut oil, cacao butter, and grass-fed butter and ghee. So this gives you a little overview of what. So when you eat whole foods, if inflammation is driving you, the way you feel, and what diseases you may have in your body, you have to think less carbohydrate, good fats, and then you still have carbohydrates, because all plants provide you with carbohydrates, but you will take the carbohydrates that come with lots and lots of fiber and water content that have less impact on your blood sugar, require less insulin to be processed, and by doing this shift, you are going to turn the boat around, so to speak. So you will have plenty of vegetables, green vegetables that usually grow in the south. Eat the rainbow basically, and skip the starches, and the good fats. With regards to protein, you have to be careful. You don't want to overdo protein. Many people, when they think about low carb, they think automatically it's high protein. Example with the paleo diet, it's pretty high in protein. You want to target protein to keep it moderate according to your own body needs. And I calculate protein using lean body mass. So it's good if you can get a body composition, and that gives you an estimate of your lean body mass, and you calculate your protein needs based on that, and activity, of course, you add the activity factor in. So this is what I had to share with you today. My next video is probably going to be more about inflammation, as we need to understand more how inflammation, what is and what does to our body, and oxidative damage. And then I'll go deeper into fats and carbohydrates, again, why, many reasons why working around carbohydrates, making changes in there, it takes you way faster on your healing journey. It's not one diet that fits all, and whatever you are trying, do it. Give yourself at least minimum a month to try something and evaluate. See, how is this working for me? If it's working, you keep going. If it's not working, you have to change, because if you do the same thing over and over again, you cannot expect different results. Thank you so much for watching. If you are not a member of my private Facebook group, I would love for you to join Healing with Foods Movement Mindset. And of course, check out my website, Mihaela Telecan. .com or healingwithfoods.org. Those two URLs take you to the same place, and grab my resource guide, how to get your kitchen equipped so you can start cooking. Have an awesome day, a wonderful weekend. Bye.